You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg hit threshold 5 out of 15 states. Today, he said, I'm out, and endorsed Biden.
Now today, I want to say how grateful I am to everyone who has been part of our team. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your support, your work, and your votes. And I'm just telling you, the American public should be saying thank you to you as well. You really made history. You really did. Yes, that's true. No campaign has ever accomplished as much as you did in such a short period of time. If you go back, we started at 1% in the polls. But yesterday, thanks to you, nearly 2 million Americans cast their votes for our campaign. This really is the best, most creative, most hard-working campaign team ever assembled. And I have to say, there is no doubt in my mind we would have beaten Donald Trump in November. And you know,
I always get a kick out of them people say, I'm sure we would have beat the Donald Trump in November. Well, you couldn't beat Biden and Sanders and Warren in March. Here's the thing. So Bloomberg endorses Joe Biden. Michael Bloomberg is a one-man political action committee. The reality is this. I think we saw with what took place with Super Tuesday how Biden is winning, and he wasn't even up significantly with ads and infrastructure. If I'm Michael Bloomberg, or if I'm on that team advising Michael Bloomberg, what I am saying is, Mike, we can run ads or whatever supporting Joe Biden, but we need to take $100 million and specifically target Black and Latino groups who know how to get the vote out. Let me just be as blunt as possible. Part of the problem, Wilmer, is that you have had these white-led organizations who do not know Black people, who do not know Latinos, who don't have no credibility going into those communities, overseeing these efforts and just sort of throwing a few dollars out at these groups. No, you got to be able to say, y'all know how to turn folks out. We're going to fund your efforts. And I can tell you, even though Black Voters Matter is a nonpartisan group, look, far more resources that they need. They're doing a hell of a job with what they're doing. You take DeWanna out of Alabama with Be Woke, same thing. There are a number of other people out there. Look, we're going to have to talk to Melanie Campbell in just a second, the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. Bottom line is, Michael Bloomberg should absolutely say to Melanie's group, boom, you know what? Look, forget walking around trying to talk to everybody. 10 million, here you go. Because a ground game is what is going to defeat Donald Trump.
Minister Farrakhan once said, never underestimate the blindness that attends arrogance. And what you're seeing with what you just laid out is you're asking white folks on the political scene to realize that there may be something they don't know. And that then you're asking them to put money behind what you're telling them that they don't know. And you're telling them you need to allow folks in the African American community to explain something to you that you don't know. And now what was interesting to me about a lot of Bloomberg commercials was they were targeted to the African American community. It was apparent to me that Bloomberg understood going in that he needed to be sure that the African American community was comfortable with him, as he had to face the stop and frisk and the redlining issues and other issues that were not going to make him that appealing to the African American community. So it seems to me that Bloomberg he himself and those that were surrounding him did have an understanding of who some of his target audience needs to be. The question is, which you're getting to, are they willing to put money behind it and allow us to tell them what it is they need to do.
And Scott, what I'm going to need is, and I'm going to say this, and let me be real clear, y'all. I fundamentally believe that if you're an African American out there, and if you have $5 or $10 or $20 or $50, I believe that you also should be supporting these organizations where we are having Black-led get out the vote efforts, where you have African Americans running organizations who are making those decisions on where resources go. But this is also where African Americans of means come in as well. Because let's just be clear, when you look at a Sheldon Adelson, casino magnate, he'll sit there and say, okay, I'm going to drop $200 million this year on the Republican various campaigns. Koch brothers will say, yeah, we're going to do well, actually one of them is now deceased, but we're going to do $400 million. They're put together their whole network of rich billionaires, rich white Republican billionaires. We're going to do $1 billion. This is also where you're going to need African Americans with money. Bob Johnson, Robert Smith, Oprah, other people, other individuals Sheila Johnson, other individuals who are worth $400 and $500 and $600 and $700 million, Michael Jordan, Jay-Z. I can go down the line to begin to say, oh yeah, here's $5 million, here's $10 million. Collectively, we're going to put together $100 million to have Black-led efforts. Otherwise, we're left in the same position of, frankly, going to ask white folks, can we?
And that hasn't worked. And I don't think it's their ignorance, because the DNC.
I said arrogance.
It's arrogance, but but
I didn't say ignorance. I said arrogance.
No, I know what you said, but I thought you used later in your presentation something about them not knowing or educating them in some way, like Bloomberg. The DNC has practiced what Roland just described for decades, if you will, where Clinton did not put money in the black community, had people that didn't look like us walking around handing out some crumbs, if you will. I asked this question on Twitter earlier today. What does Joe Biden and the DNC owe Black America, and what debt is owed to us? And what do we want? Because this is a broader concept.
What do we want?
Everything. Because we, Black American Democratic voters, and the majority whip, Jim Clyburn, saved the Democratic Party, saved Biden, and perhaps saved our ability to beat Donald Trump, which is the number one priority. How do we have that discussion about not only what we want, but what the Dems owe Black America? One of the things that has got to be on that list is investment in the black press, investment in African-American-based consultants and pollsters so they can fully participate in the economics of this general election and these primary elections, which historically we have been blocked out, at least to a significant degree. I call it the economics of politics. But we've got to demand that, package it, and sell that as one voice. And what is it that we want? Because we are certainly owed right now.
But we go to these conventions, we go to these meetings, people with expertise in a lot of the areas that you're talking about, they appeal to those that are in charge of letting contracts, and all of that falls upon deaf ears. Yeah. And because when it comes down to distributing the funds and the money so that folks can get some contracts, for some reason, whether it's media, whether it's media,
pollsters,
whether it's
use.
All of a sudden we're not good enough.
Well,
we haven't been there long enough.
And this is what I'm saying. The dynamic has changed now, but we got to exploit it now.
Hold on, stop. First of all, there's a difference between saying what are you demanding of a party. Again, the problem with that is you're asking a party to do this when right now there's still no nominee. What I am saying is, you look at Tom Steyer, the organization that he put together, the impact they played in 2018 in terms of being able to fund various initiatives, the amount of money he put in Andrew Gillen's race and others. What I'm saying is, what Democrats need wealthy donors who have the same mentality as Republican wealthy donors who say, we're not even worried about the party. Right. We have created our own infrastructure that can do this. What I am arguing is to those people who have created this other infrastructure They need to be saying, we are absolutely going to be funding and targeting these black groups because we need to be able to fund them in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina,
Ohio,
in Florida, in those places, in order to be able to be effective. So I'm not making a party argument. What I am saying is, because the party right now can't do jack. Because the party is like, you're still dealing with who's going to be the nominee. What I'm saying is, while they are fighting that, you have these independent interests who don't have to worry about the party, who should be thinking about it now, because historically what happens is the party waits until after the nominee, after the convention, after August. You not only left yourself a 2-month window. I'm saying it's March. Those resources, Joseph, must be spent now, seeding the ground so it's fertile, because first you got to identify them. Then you got to talk to them. Then you got to register them. Then you got to have another system that gets them to the polls in November. It's a 4-pronged step.
That's exactly right. And you're talking about enough lead-up time where you can do that effectively by the time the polls open in November and you get people on board, because it is going to be crucial. Make no mistake. It's going to be crucial in those swing states. The black vote is going to be crucial in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, and on down the line.
You mean beyond the South?
And beyond the South.
Absolutely, because you got to look at Arizona. Okay, how are you going to go after Latinos to increase the turnout? See, part of the problem here, Wilmer, whenever you watch these cable news, they're talking about percentages. No. The issue is not percentages. It's how many and the percentage. I mean, you can say you turned out 96% of black women.
Of 10 people.
Right. So again, if you are on the Democratic side and you want Mark Kelly to become the next United States Senator and beat Miss Sally, you've got to turn out more Latinos in Arizona. If you're talking about how are you going to get Hickenlooper in Colorado, you got to turn out your base voter. And that means stop trying to spend money, trying to go after suburban white women who are conservative. No, turn out the very people. You can spend fewer dollars with the person who's more likely to vote for you than to spend all this money with somebody who probably in the end is still not going to vote for you.
To your earlier point about those within our community of means putting money in, inside people versus outside people, what are their interests? And what you may find with a lot of those individuals that you're referencing is that they don't see the investment that you're talking about really to be in their interest. They're, in many instances, going along with the status quo because the status quo has served them and their interests quite well.
Actually, some have, because first of all, the Black Economic Alliance, after in the last election, saw there needed to be, and I talked to them. They said there needed to be an actual entity that was taking where all these African Americans who are in corporate America and other places were giving money to individual candidates and campaigns. But then they said, no, wait, hold up. Right. We need to have an entity that's representing black interests. So they created the Black Economic Alliance for that very reason. The problem before that was there was no entity set up. What I am saying is you have right now, whether it's them, whether it's grassroots organizations that are set up and established to do this very work that should be funded.
You're absolutely right.
Unfortunately, what happens historically has happened is they have withered on the vine because
they haven't been funded.
Because before they were waiting on campaign dollars.
Right.
What I'm saying is now what you have is the game has totally changed, right. And it actually changed really after Obama. Because when the amount of money that he raised, remember, he didn't take public money. So now the game has changed. So now what I'm saying is these external entities don't have to be bound by the same stuff. Hillary Clinton was sitting on $65 million. Black folks went to her trying to say, look, you got to put this money in. And they were like, we're not going to give you anything. But I know for a fact.
And then they lost.
I know for a fact on the Friday before the election, they were trying to figure out where they could throw money at any black entity. And it was like, boom, the election is Tuesday. Had you done this a month or 2 months ago, it would have paid off. I'm saying we're in March. That's what we have to do. Final comment before I bring my next group.
Well, if I may, this private investment also works, this concept, those 4 steps, works from those very significant people who have lots of money, because a lot of the individuals or the organizations that you named, they're nonprofits. They may not they're not Democratic or Republican, and so if you invest in them, you get a tax break. That's got to be more attractive than just spending political money, and you spend political money as well.
Absolutely.
They have to have a social consciousness, though. You see,
Hence
new money,
my point
old
about
money.
the interest.
Right,
But
a
there are-
social consciousness to do this, because it is a value decision that this president not be reelected, and that you want to invest in that.
Got it.
So you got the people, you got the candidates.
Final
who've
comment.
Done
Final
that.
comment.
Basically, the thing that struck out to me when you're describing this is down ballot. I mean, you're talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
getting, this is how you keep
Focused on those races.
This is how you keep the Senate. This is how you keep the House. This
Right.
is how you make gains in reversing voter discrimination and voter
New
access
leadership
rules.
in Kentucky.
Absolutely. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they basically about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.